we are going to the Honesdale Stourbridge Line Railroad.
Hello.
That sounds better.
And welcome to the birthplace of the American Railroad. Thanks for coming. I'll tell you what, I've done group stuff for a long time. These Lionel people get it. I've never seen a more organized group in my life. Anyway, I have books for you. In the book is the ticket and your specific schedule. On your ticket will be the car number that you're on. You guys are in 1993. Just happens to be my favorite coach in our whole fleet. 1920s vintage New Jersey Center coach, blue velvet seats. It's kind of nice.
So inside the visitor center, they have a layout. A couple of layouts. Look at this N-gauge one here. And a couple of 3-rail O-gauge.
Is there an O-gauge?
And then back there, they got some G-scale.
Track snowplow that was named near Buffalo, New York, and it was abandoned here on the tracks in Honesdale, and then put on a siding by the company that you're here to go on the excursion train with. We're sad to say that if they were to pick it up now, because it's been sitting here for like 20 years, that the trucks underneath would probably fall apart from the wooden frame. So I think that you're looking at it in its dying days. This is the state of Pennsylvania. You are in the northeastmost corner, the northeastmost county of the state of Pennsylvania is called Wayne County, formed in 1798, named after Mad Anthony Wayne, one of the heroes of the American Revolution. So welcome to the Wayne County Historical Society, PA, Pennsylvania, okay? Most important thing we have in our museum is right here. You're in a display called Move-In Energy. It's the history of the Delaware and Hudson Canal Company. Right behind this building is where the canal started or ended, whatever way you want to think of it. There's a map above your heads that you can study. The coal from 18 miles in that direction, pretty much where you came from, towards Scranton, was brought here by stationary steam engines and a gravity railroad for almost 100 years, and then transferred right behind here to canal boats. Reading the labels, come up here, pretend that you're that guy, Horatio Allen, who fueled this thing in 1829. No one else would get on the Stourbridge Line with him. When this ran from here, 3 miles, it was the first locomotive to run on a rail in the Western Hemisphere. Now, people say United States. No, we're going beyond the United States because Canada didn't have, Mexico didn't have, Guatemala didn't have, Argentina didn't have. We were it. We are the birthplace of the American Railroad. This is where you want to be. You want to see this lion and get your picture taken in front of it with your friend and your cell phone. That's the baby you came to see right there. So enjoy.
Well, Carol, thank you very much.
Sure, you're welcome. I hope everybody just mills around and reads. There is no such thing as narrow gauge, wide gauge, none of that. Looking at one of the problems, it was, excuse my expression.
Looks like water was here.
It did not work. But
Coal was here.
it was built in
Fire is there.
brought here after a long voyage, put back together. Yeah, you'd have Zoom meetings, etc. Right? It happened. It took 6 weeks then from England for them to get a letter to the United States, and then they'd have to think about it and write a reply. 6 weeks to get the reply back to England. Meanwhile, things were being built. So this is one of the first locomotives to.
My name is Jason Smith. I'm one of the trustees here. I'm also a volunteer. And this is the Eclipse. So this was what we would call the car for the very well-to-do. It wouldn't be anything like this. This was not run with an engine. There was no engine involved with this. This was all done by planes pulling you up, planes with rope. The rope was made by a man by the name of Roebling. He's the one who designed the Brooklyn Bridge. And he came up with a pulley system to pull us this up. This came over and went up, and then back down over into Scranton. You're more than welcome to go in. This was built in 1860. There's only one way in, and then so
One way out. Oh, nice seat.
Can I get out, people? I didn't realize you can't get out.
Well, this has a nice, comfortable view.
Nice comfortable seat.
Oh, look at that. Oh, the seats are nice and comfortable. I could see why the privileged get to have this one. Yeah.
There we go. Welcome to the Cotz's Underwear exhibit. This is our latest exhibit here at the Wayne County Historical Society. And some of the men are going, oh gosh, what are we going to be doing? Seeing underwear? No. Lots of nightgowns. They sold nightgowns. Started here in Wayne County. Their first factory was right down the street on Main Street.
So what do you have here?
So,
Looks like glass.
yes, so we have a number of pieces of glass. Back in the day, there were a number of over a dozen factories in the area. In particular, Christian Dorflinger, he came from Germany and brought his manufacturers from Germany, first in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, then over to this area because there were such natural resources that they were able to have both the factory with the workers here. They built houses for them. It became its own economy.
What's a highlight glass that you like?
I love the Proche ware because it was actually done right in Honesdale with the gilt. So the man was named Mr. Proche, and his technique was actually creating the gilting around the top. So that became known as Proche ware. So I like that. I also like the examples of the etching because it's very intricate.
Oh, yeah. So they took some time to do that.
Yes.
And here's the business end of the train. If I had to guess, it's an F9. Now we're looking at a BL2. Many thought it was the ugliest engine ever built. Also, it was impractical. It was a general purpose engine.
Don't hesitate to stop me if you have any questions or concerns.
Her name is Amber. We got some train cars coming up.
We are coming up to our engine house. Once we cross the street, you'll start to see some cabooses. The very first caboose you see is an all wooden caboose. It dates back to the Civil War era. After that, there are some beautifully painted cabooses. These are all independently owned. It's kind of like owning an RV. It's got your bunk, your kitchenette, everything else. But you get the added bonus of calling us and hooking up for the train ride. The green one actually got to see the Easter Bunny 6 times. He came to visit on our Easter weekend. This last one is waiting on a paint job. She works beautifully. Bumpier than, say, a passenger train in New York or something, because this track was originally for coal. Coal is the reason that we have trains in this area. Our area has anthracite coal, which is the top of the top diamond level of coal. It burns hot, it burns efficient, and the factories wanted it desperately. So we had to figure out a way to get it from our area to those factories in the cities. We had things like the gravity line, which is kind of like loading up a roller coaster with coal and pushing it over the hill. You don't want to be the guy who has to stop. It was a very dangerous job. Many people lost lives and limbs. We also had the canal. The canal was never in our river. Our river is too rocky, and its depth varies not only only from location, but season as well. A man named Horatio Allen to go to Europe and figure out what these locomotive things are that he had heard about. They gave him $12,000, which in the 1800s was a lot of money. And they told him to buy 4 locomotives. He gets over there, he chooses his 4, he loads them onto a ship. Something happens in the ocean where it assumes rough waters because one of the locomotives actually becomes dislodged and rolls off the ship. Quarter of the investment just dropped to the bottom of the ocean. Now the last locomotive that came off, someone got bored while they were on the ship and they painted a great big red lion's face on it. And it was built in Stourbridge. So this locomotive came off the ship with the name Stourbridge Lion. This locomotive, Horatio Allen, this was his last chance. So of course, the whole way into Honesdale, he's telling everybody, just like our billboard did, this is the future. This is what transportation is going to be. This is what industry is going to be. This is it. You've got to be there when it happens. You want to witness history in the making. Nobody thought this was a good idea. Everyone pointed and laughed at him up until the day that he was going to take his maiden voyage. Now, when we got it to Honesdale, we had a problem. England gave us locomotives, but they would not give us their track technology. So our engineers did all their measuring and all their calculations, and they realized if we laid down wood and put down some metal on top, we can have a track system. They were able to lay out 3 miles of track. So Horatio Allen starts his maiden voyage. Everyone's pointing and laughing. They think he's crazy. He starts it up. It doesn't immediately explode in everyone's face. So a little bit of the laughing changes to cheers. It wasn't until he pulled off into the distance successfully that everyone's pointing and laughing had stopped. And it was all cheers. The car you are actually sitting on is the oldest one in our collection. It's just about 100 or just over 100 years old. It is the only car that we have been able to keep the light fixtures for. These are the original light fixtures. If you look in the center, you'll see the Statue of Liberty, which is the symbol for the Jersey Central Line. All of our cars, we try and keep as much history as we possibly can. When you go back one car where the restrooms are located, if you look over either door, there is a sign that says spitting is forbidden. Back in the 1920s when these cars were built, chewing tobacco was popular and air conditioning was not. So if you were to take a nice little spit out your window, the person behind you got a lovely surprise. So that is why the spitting forbidden signs are there. Now the cars, the engine that is pulling us now and the 2 dining cars behind it actually ran as a passenger line in Montreal originally. They were sold off separately, but our owner was able to piece them back together and now they all get to run together again. We are coming up on our venue. Once we get to our facilities, you will depart the train and go grab your lunch. At around 2 o'clock, the train will return for a photo opportunity. You will have an opportunity to take photos and videos of both engines leading. So you'll want to be over by the train tracks a little bit after 2. Okay? Again, my name is Amber. I'll be out there if anyone needs any assistance. We will see you in just a few minutes. You can.
It is time for lunch. This looks good.